Also, I think your soundproof wall is making you look like really dark because there was like no light reflection.
So I installed the panels, and then Harriet
Also, you got
came
your door
home.
open, which completely ruins the entire
Does it
object
actually?
of soundproofing.
There you go. That's
There you
probably better. I put up the panels, and Harriet was really upset because I just
really?
redecorated, and I just panelled the whole wall in soundproofing.
How did you stick it up?
It's more like a strip.
Well, I've got like 6 panels to my right over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it'll work or not, but we'll find out.
The main thing is to have
out.
it round your window. You don't have any round your window, but I have like the corners of the window.
Oh, okay.
That's where the vibrations go.
Do you have a curtain as well, Joe? Because I
should have a curtain. I should have a curtain. Would be better.
Just got some blinds. No, good.
Yeah.
Did you find out? Go on.
I'm just gonna say now it looks like you're just like chewing your mic.
No, I know.
Luckily, the audio has been fixed because Rav's decided to eat his microphone this episode.
I'm hoping speaking into the mic at a closer range helps. Basically, instead of
it's seriously picking up your voice. That's for sure.
It seriously is. Yeah.
We'll just make sure we'll rebalance when we get the audio files together, shall we, Ben?
Joe's gonna have to teach me how to rebalance because he's got some,
one click of a button.
He's got some wicked cool software. Some wicked cool software. We didn't even say who's gonna host. Am I hosting?
It doesn't matter. You can go.
No?
We'll go with the flow.
We'll just wave it. Yeah. Fine. All right.
So I've been brought up here, taken away from my new favourite show.
Here we go.
Love Is Blind UK.
Oh,
yes.
Actually, I thought you actually said you were still watching Love Island.
No. So I started the UK Love Is Blind, like 3 days ago, and it is brilliant. They're out of the pods. Yeah. They've had their little holiday, and now they're living together at the moment. And they're family and friends are starting to meet them, and they're all being like, "Ooh, are you sure about this?" And they're all like, "I didn't think of that."
I'm still shocked you didn't start with the American one. Like that was the first. I think like generally the first seasons of one of the shows, because I think they've done it in a few places now. Like I think there's a Love Is Blind like Dubai or something like that,
right.
And like Sweden. But the US one it feels like it's always like the the pilot of all of these shows, right?
I think what I like about Married at First Sight better than Love Is Blind is because
took him this long to say Married at First Sight, I think.
So Love Is Blind, they do obviously the kind of pod spit where they kind of chat to each other and then pick whatever. Whereas Married at First Sight, they leave it up to these experts. The expert people.
It's like an algorithm deciding, basically.
Yeah,
right?
They make the decision for them. So when it comes to the wedding day, they quite literally have no idea who's going to come out of it and who's going to be, walking down the aisle or whatever. And it just makes it a bit more explosive, I think.
Yeah, I feel like just the raw... There's already way too much emotion happening for a day like that. But then when you've got the pure panic of like, who the hell are you?
Because you're already stuck. From day one, you're stuck.
You're committed.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And whereas, in Love Is Blind, obviously they don't have to hook up in the pods, so people could just like go home if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And in the build up to the wedding, people can back out, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's crazy is obviously there's like loads of them that go in the process, right? And then you only see like maybe like a couple of them, like literally for like 10 seconds, like in the background.
You see the extras who don't connect
basically.
With anyone. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's like 14 and 14. But what I couldn't get my head around is that some people were like when they came back from the pods later and they were coupled up, and other people like came in to like meet the other people from the pods or whatever. Mm-hmm. They were like, "Hi, nice to meet you for the first time," and it's like I thought these 14 spoke to the other 14. But like clearly there's a cycle of more than those people.
Must be.
So they should all generally they all like I guess quote unquote date one another, right? But they already follow certain storylines. But obviously they don't ever. Are you talking about? You're not talking about when they get together midway through the show, like actually get together as a group, right?
Yeah. As a group, after some have coupled up and some have left the pod bit. Yeah. They meet as like groups, like pod
Well,
squad. Or
all the guys would know each other. All the girls know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They're meeting like the other guys of a half.
They're meeting the opposite.
Yeah.
But I thought they would have spoken to each other behind a wall, and they didn't know what they looked like.
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean.
Had
it's nice
some
to,
conversation.
It's normally like nice to see you for the first time rather than like meet.
Yeah,
or
okay,
me,
yeah. But a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm whatever." But I guess you have to do it like that. But what I also think is really interesting, what I would have quite enjoyed, was when there were some who were strongly coupled, then having like matey chats with the other ones who were strongly coupled. Do you know what I mean? Like ones that had no intention of being together, just having like matey chats through a wall. Or would they just like not talk for like 20 minutes? Or like they would just...
So I think it gets to the point where I think it gets to the point where they can just pick and choose if they're gonna actually want to speak to each other again. And like at that point, I guess the process is the process. It should be like, I'm not gonna see this guy who I've already rejected, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm talking from the girl's perspective here now. I'm not gonna speak to this girl again.
As you should.
So it's just gonna be the ones that I'm quote unquote wanting to spend time with, right? So it's like just sack off.
I guess that's right. So yeah, like after every day you tick boxes of who you want to see again, something like that.
I mean, we have no idea. I've not been through the process. This is how I imagine it should be, right? If I'm forced into a room to talk to someone I don't like, it's just bizarre.
One of
good TV,
did you know this,
but bizarre.
that one of our friends, Fareed, was asked to go on it, and he hasn't done it. You know, the Go-caster.
Really?
Yeah, he was asked to go on it. Yeah,
no way.
Because he works like around TV.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, he works with Sky, and I think he was approached to do it and chose not to, obviously. But like, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's
Would
fair.
I go on it?
Funny if he was on it. That would be brilliant if he was.
It would be hilarious, but because I think that in one of the other shows, it might have been one of the Love Is Blind US's. I think there was a whole furore of a guy who said he was a competitive Pokemon player.
Here we go.
And I think he plays.
Right.
I think he played Showdown and got to like a decent score at one point or something like that.
Right.
But no one knew who he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen the first season.
That was First Dates, I think.
Was it? No, it wasn't First Dates.
Yeah, it was the one.
There was a Love Is Blind one as well.
There was definitely another one on First Dates, but I think it was a VG player. I think.
Yeah, there was a First Dates UK VG player. There was, but there was a US Love Is Blind person as well. Because I remember quite vividly. Anyway, I've watched a lot of trash TV. What can I say?
Yeah, you've still got to watch 90 Day Joe. I remember when we met up a couple of weeks ago. I showed you a couple of clips, and Big Ed just drew you in. You were trying to play cards, but you just couldn't resist Big Ed and Rose.
I couldn't look away from Big Ed, to be honest. I was very committed to their relationship.
It's when he kind of showers with his father-in-law. It's quite funny. If none of you have ever watched 90 Day Fiancé, just
it's when he gets his partner a bloody
toothbrush.
Yeah. Absolutely horrendous.
Is it? Are we talking about the no neck guy?
Yeah, Big Ed. Yeah, Big Ed. He puts mayonnaise in his hair because it makes it shiny.
He's someone I'd love to see in Love Is Blind, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
You
reckon his personality will shine through, Joe?
Yes.
90 Day Fiancé, you can't find.
Actually, you know what, Alex?
You can't find these.
He has quite an ugly personality, so I'm starting to see your point.
Exactly. Right. As Joe's already decided.
Which, by the way, Alex, before we came on, as we were
hang on, he's going to throw me as such a terrible light here.
So Alex basically said that if you're a bad-looking person, that also makes you a bad person overall.
That's absolutely not what I said.
Actually, you actually have basically no interesting traits as a human or personality.
Which is terrible.
That is a disgrace.
No one would ever love you, is what he said.
One would ever love you.
Right, on the record, I did not say this.
That's what I got from it.
This went through one ear of Joe's and came out completely different from his mouth.
Well, I've got a vested interest as an unattractive person, so I just took it to heart.
And this was after I told Joe to his face that he was attractive.
Coming out now is the issue.
God,
do you not remember that clip I made of Joe last time in the last one? He was calling you all Kremlins, all right? There we go. Anyway.
Right. Don't worry. The Gremlins have skipped this bit.
Moving off of Love Is Blind, do we want to chat about football for like an hour?
Oh, we have to talk football, surely.
Do we? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Have you come out of the covers? It's good of you to actually have got out of bed today, Alex. Because I wouldn't have after that showing yesterday.
I was midway through a games night last night with Grimsby on my phone. You know, we talk about the bigger team here. Great form. They've had great success over Man United over the years. 1948, I think we lost to them 3-0 or something like that as well. So they have previous. You know, you go by the history books.
They're a bogey club, is what you're saying.
So Man United have never beaten Grimsby. They've lost twice and drawn once, and they were all in the 1940s.
Is that right?
How can you go against those odds? I think we literally last played them like 1940.
It's 1940, yeah, something like that.
That is genius.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, it's depressing, obviously, through the whole performance, the type of goals, I think what's crazy is the interview that Amarin had afterwards with all of the TV shows. I don't know if you guys have heard all the things about the players done the talking already for me and yada yada.
He's
I mean, look, the worrying thing is he has actually, again, it's been reported that he's handed in his resignation before, and they basically said no, don't, hang on,
you're not allowed.
Yeah, basically, because I mean, it's you start putting two and two together. His other quote was like, "You can't change 22 players again."
Yeah.
So and he said changes have to happen, maybe not at the Burnley game, but in the international break, we'll see what happens. Or he said he'll fix it, in one of his quotes. But then it just sounds like he's got one foot out the door, which is a big shame. Because I think the best thing to take this away is that if you're a Premier League team or player, you should be able to play like 1-9-0 and win against Grimsby.
Yeah, correct.
In all honesty, right? It doesn't matter what formation you play. It doesn't matter where. You should be able to put Onana up front and theoretically still score more than Grimsby, I think. He wouldn't have to try and flap with his hands up front.
No, yeah. It's crazy that a lot of obviously Phil Jones and Joby McAnuff were on the...
Oh yeah, big name there, McAnuff.
But
that's someone I'm going to be listening to on a regular basis.
Joby McAnuff, do you not know? Oh, he's a championship legend, that guy. But
thank you.
they were both talking about tactics, like half time and at the end show, and I was just thinking it's just nothing to do with it at all. Like it should be the minimum. Just don't even talk about tactics. Just talk about the players themselves. Like I got a stat for you, Alex. So they totaled up how much it would take to run Grimsby as a football club last year. And for the 70 million that you bought Sejko for, you could run Grimsby for 13 years.
As in the town?
Yeah.
No, the
club.
I said the same.
I was at the town.
Mayor of Grimsby.
Which is just crazy. And there was a really funny quote from their chairman after they won. They said, all the Man United supporters, all of them from London and Guildford.
Oh yeah,
would be really
Guildford.
upset
It was
tonight.
Guildford.
Yeah, that was quite funny. But no, shocking. Obviously Celtic lost the Champions League qualifier to Kairat. On Tuesday, which was a bit upsetting, obviously, but made all the better by Rangers and Manchester United the day after. So silver linings.
Rangers capitulated as well, didn't they?
They're terrible.
They went down to 10 men, and then how many goals did they concede in that first half?
6. So they conceded 6 in 60 minutes. It's a really, really funny clip, and even if you're not into football, it's great. There's a guy called Chris Boyd who's a Sky Sports presenter and Rangers player, so avid Rangers fan. When the sixth goal went in, when they do it on Sky Sports where they're obviously not showing the live game on the news, but they've got somebody
but they're
who's
the one following it.
Yeah. So they said, and there's been another goal in Bruges tonight. Over to you, Chris. But it wasn't even him. It was a cardboard cutout of him.
Yeah.
With his 2 thumbs up. It was so funny.
He's gone.
But we play them on Sunday, and it's going to be really funny. I mean, some of the stuff that's been shared by fans is so funny. One person, which it really made me giggle, like late at night, nearly won't carry it up. It was this.
I just love the idea of you're turned round with your phone in your hand. Trying to make Harriet or the baby.
It was an image. It was an image of the players getting ready for the game, and it was saying the stoppable force versus the movable object. Yeah. And I just cracked up. Oh, it's just so funny. But yeah, football's been up and down lately, hasn't it? Especially FPL.
Football's back. That's what you're saying.
Football is back. Just to update on FPL as well, Joe. I don't know if you want to do the honours since you're.
I'm doing quite well at the moment.
Oh, you bench boosted.
I'm quite far ahead right now. I did use a chip in my defence. Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah, to be fair, so that's a big way that you can boost your points. And it did go well for me, which is, God, it's been years since I've had a good bench boost, so I was quite happy with that. Especially because there was no guarantees with Burnley. Well. Yeah, Palmer didn't play, but I think basically 80% of the game have him, so I don't think that made a big difference. It hurts my bench boost, but luckily everyone else on the boost hit or got a return, so yeah, pretty happy with that overall. And I don't have massive injury crisis or anything like that a lot of other people have, so I have license to keep Palmer on the bench, but I still might sub him. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, doing well so far, whereas you guys are languishing mid-table.
Yeah, I had a great first week. I think I was pretty high up on most of the tables. That's because I opted for the trilogy of Palmer, Salah, and Haaland. Made 0 changes, but then literally no players actually returned any points in the game week 2. So a bit behind, but I'm not having to. I think Haaland's someone that people will start to think about actually needing to bring in.
Yeah.
At some stage.
People already are, especially with Palmer. A lot of people might go Watkins, Palmer to Haaland, someone else this week.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people will do that. Yeah.
So I get to say myself, and I actually didn't know there are 5 transfers now that you can roll.
Yeah, you can store up to 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I knew that apparently it came in last year. I thought it was still 2. So now I think I should have 2 at the moment or 3 at the moment. So I might need to be tinkering, which works for me. But yeah, I'm fine. I'm quite happy with I think
it's a good spot to be in, to be fair.
That I've got.
Yeah.
My big downfall is I didn't have João Pedro, which almost everyone else had, coming in with a big return last week. And also, what was the other one?
I mean, you don't have Salah, which is a big one.
Big kicker. Yeah, I mean, it's not been too bad because I've had other points come in. I have Watkins in as well, which hasn't helped because he's just blanked. Terrible, yeah. He's just been terrible. But he does have
it's not a player that most people have though, right?
He does have a good run of games now though, so I am going to keep him. But I've swapped because I did have Bukayo Saka as well, but I swapped him to Gibbs White this weekend and swapped Joe Roden to
they have
Van der Ven.
Fixtures.
So Forest have great fixtures. They have Arsenal on game week 4, but I've got 5 midfielders, so I can swip and swap. And I'm going to keep Palmer.
I'm surprised you make so many early changes before any team news starts to filter through tomorrow.
Well, I was actually going to wildcard because I don't have any of the premiums. I only have Palmer. I don't have Salah and Haaland, so I may be forced to an early wildcard. But at least we have 2 this year, so it's not too bad. It hurts, but it's not too bad.
It's not great, but a few people are in that spot. And the funny thing is, your favourite content creators, Rab, they're all doing terribly.
They are, yeah.
I've listened to a few podcasts, and people are in the 7 millions. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of players are blanked. You would have never thought.
Wait.
Ollie Watkins would have blanked the first 2 game weeks, considering.
Are you finally not following? Are you finally not following?
I never have. I don't know. Tell me one content creator that didn't have Salah Haaland. None.
That's fair.
Exactly. And they all went Milenkovic, not Murillo.
But at the same time, I think all of them posted teas without a Salah Haaland, I'm sure, that are quite akin to what you've got.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, why wouldn't they? They all do.
So you followed them, but you just not their actual teams. You followed one of their other teams.
I guarantee there would be a content creator with your exact team somewhere.
Lies.
So have that.
I don't think they'll have my team at all.
This was the second downfall. I have Wirtz, which is blanked twice.
Wirtz was a big, there was a big upside to him, but he's just not been in the assists yet.
No, he's been.
He's looked awful. Sorry, I know we're talking.
I thought he looked good in the first game, but he was like assisting assists, you know.
I don't think he did. He didn't do anything.
He lost the ball quite a bit, to be fair.
He was joining up. He's not the threat that people would have thought he would be.
People being you.
Yeah, people being me. Right, I think that's enough.
Slash the content creators.
I think that's enough ramble. That's 20 minutes of ramble.
I think that's proof that you shouldn't listen to content creators. Right, anyway, let's get on with our meta discussion.
Yeah, right, okay. Well,
but before that...
Welcome, everybody, to the SpilltheTeaCG podcast with myself, Benjamin Yars, also my co-creators, co-podcasters, co-whatever, Joe Bernard and Alex Dow, enthusiastic as ever. And, of course, we've just had Worlds, the penultimate event of the season. No, not penultimate.
What?
The final.
The ultimate, some would say.
The final. The final.
I think he's shitting on your show, Joe.
You're okay.
Yeah, the ultimate event. I'm tired. The final event of the season.
I'm certain you don't know what long words do. And you put them in.
I just try and cram them in.
Every email, don't you?
Just try and cram them in.
Joe's hairs now look like he's trying to pull it out based on the words you're using.
And before we start talking about the new season, I guess we're at SpilltheTeaCG season 2. I guess this is the first episode, maybe.
Great.
Or should we review Worlds first?
Or should we wait till the ultimate tournament of the year?
Yeah. Is this the penultimate episode? Yeah, so Worlds. Joe, take us through. I've got the question here, which we were cracking up at, which I was going to pose to you. How is the atmosphere going into Worlds?
Good atmosphere, wasn't it? Electric. An electric atmosphere here at the World Championships. No, it was really good. Good to be back in Anaheim. Just to set the scene, it's like there's Disney there, and then accompanying is a ton of hotels and restaurants, which meant that there's easy places to congregate in the hotel lobbies and whatnot. And Worlds was like right in the center of it, with the convention center there, and they really did go all out to make it like a big convention, similar to the ICs, really similar to any IC, where there's just so much space for the extra halls. There was like a hall either side of the main event area, so there was training going on. There was for the first time they had vendors at the World Championships. That's normally just something you get at the ICs, but they were encouraging vending to go on. They encouraged a trade area, and there was some really cool stuff on display there as well. And then they had like the sort of walk through the history of Worlds. They had arts stuff on show. It really was like a lot of stuff to do in and around the tournament. Obviously the Pokemon Center as well. I didn't go in myself to the Pokemon Center, so I can't really talk on it because I know it was controversial.
Whoa. You didn't get to go in?
I'll tell you what. Well, it's because Emily went in twice instead.
But didn't you get
for both of us?
You didn't say we. I was gonna say we for the first. You didn't get a chance to go in as one of the casters.
There would have been like if I demanded to go in.
Oh, okay. You would have had to be walked in with.
But I knew, yeah. Like there would have been ways for me to have done it, but I never felt the need to because Emily did a couple of passes early.
Nice.
Because I got in late on Wednesday, or I actually got in at like 2 on Wednesday, but I didn't leave the airport until like 4:30, and that my slot was at like 5 or something. So anyway. It transpired that I didn't end up going to the centre, so I can't really talk on the drama of the centre too much. I think the only real sentiment is like, how have we had situations where it's been so good, looking at like previous, well, even just looking at NAIC, I thought it was run really well at NAIC, I thought it was run really well at Japan Worlds, and then still having to be like, oh, it turns out they've not figured it out this time around, because there were issues of queues and whatnot, and things getting out of control, because they clearly know when it has done well what they have to do to support that, and then just to see it not done every tournament going forward is a shame, I think. But I really liked the World's range ultimately, and I think it grew on me. I think it was like, I wasn't blown away by it when I saw a lot of it to begin with, but I was like, this is actually very cool. I really like the car theme that was going on, and I think if you watched any of the stream and the broadcast, the fact that they had these little animations going through did stitch it all together and made it feel special, I think, which I think added to it. Got a lot of cool stuff. I really liked the baseball jacket that I wore on the Friday in commentary. I think that's just like a cool thing. There was also a Letterman jacket and like a nice leather jacket as well. So there was good stuff there for people to pick up. Alex, I've got you a Letterman jacket as well. I've got Rab a Pikachu plush, so you're both getting a little slice of the merch, which is cool.
It's for Nell.
It's for Nell. Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you said that, it grew on you. I think just watching it, because obviously myself and Ben, we weren't there. It grew on me as well, and then I instantly started like sliding into DMs and be like, I need some shit. So
I think the only true disappointment I think is the bag. The bag is the same design we've seen for a couple of backpack
Yeah,
I think that's been done too many times. There was nothing that unique or special about it, which is a shame. But I think the merch at the store and the plushies were all pretty good. So I think ultimately, to answer your question, very good atmosphere at Worlds, Rab.
That's why I love the Washington bag so much. The kind of explorer's bag. That was the best.
I think that's a bad bag if you want to use it as a bag, but I think it's a great like piece.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have.
And that's how I would prefer my Worlds bag to be. I think
it was the Washington one.
It was the big
like the
explorer's backpack. Where it's
yes, okay,
the brown tanned one,
and the dark blue lid on the top. Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
The fossil Pokemon and the Safari Pikachu. Yeah.
And I think that had obvious themes. And like, because they've already done Anaheim a couple of times, they can't go over a theme that they've done before. So you can see why it was more, I suppose, generic this year. But I think what they did ultimately was pretty fun. And I loved the car on the stage. And I feel the little like cute pieces around the venue. I think it did still feel quite special.
So
the production...
before we
go on.
We're probably going to about touch on the same thing, because there's obviously one massive thing that they changed for the Sunday. So I'm kind of intrigued to hear a little bit more about that, Joe, from your perspective. Obviously, getting to see it from the backstage, getting to see it on the stage, casting with it behind you. It is called TCG. What's the TCG Plus? Being like screened broadcast onto the actual field looked incredible. So like there's so many little things that I was just like, this is incredible. I wish I was there. But how was that for you as a caster and someone part of that whole show?
So first of all, just a complete shock at the time as well, because we did a full run through on Thursday, but that was just in the main venue. So we didn't see the arena until Sunday. And by the time I went in, because I was doing a lot of prep beforehand just in the green room, it wasn't until maybe about 15 minutes, or it was during this beginning of the juniors finals, where I went and actually sat down for the first time in the arena and I saw the full spectacle. So it completely blew me away. Like I was getting butterflies in there, and it was so easy to get caught up in the emotion of it all, because it's like, wow, look how far the game has come. Look how much like passion there is for everyone who's committed to be there from like the very early morning. Like there were queues up there at like 7 or 8 and people were getting in and whatnot. And there were some more issues there, obviously. And I think that's another thing that is worth talking about, because as it was going on, I could see that there weren't completely full seats, and there were queues of people trying to get in that only wanted to get in for their game, which makes sense, you know. Some people only want to see their game, but a lot of people, for example, who went to VGC and started at 4 or whatever, would think, oh, if I get there a few hours early, that's going to be fine. But it turns out that people weren't leaving after Unite or after VG or whatever, or TCG or whatever else. People were staying for the whole occasion, which I also like completely understand. But I think there could be a system of like a section that is a full day pass and a section that is just for filtering out for one game. I think that could be something they could think about. But also I think it was like a fire marshal issue I heard rumours of, and also there's an amount of seats that weren't full, but there would have been people going to the snacks and coming back in and filtering in and out. So also there was also reserved sections for VIPs as well and stuff like that. So there are always going to be elements of a not completely full stadium for different reasons. But I do think I would like to have seen a few different things handled there. But ultimately, like, my God, that's the biggest adrenaline rush I've ever had. Like, casting this game for 9 years, it's completely incomparable. Like, I've been out in the open before, like casting when there's people walking around me and whatnot, and you can feel a part of it. Obviously, for the most part, especially at ICs, it's mostly just like 4 curtains and a camera pointing at you. You're actually quite isolated from the entire thing. But having it there and hearing the sounds around you as you're casting a lot of the time is so crazy. Like my heart was completely pumping out my chest. It was absolutely nuts. And me and Mike both came off the broadcast and we've just had like adrenaline. We were just amped for like hours, like literally like 2 or 3 hours after. We didn't know what to do with each other. We were like, where's the nearest like place to run a marathon, or like where's the zoo so I can fight a gorilla? You know,
everyone
like,
comment on when we want to see Joe run a marathon. Let's go.
You don't want to see that, but like the adrenaline was there. We just had nothing to do with that pent up energy. Like we ended up just like getting some crisps. It's like that's not the thrill ride that my body's going for right now, but it's all I can do.
I remember you messaging after you casted this seniors finals, just saying like, I am absolutely pumped right now. I am so hyper right now, kind of thing.
And honestly, I'm quite a reserved person, and I've not felt like alive like that, I think, ever. Honestly, it was so insane. And what was really cool was you could hear the crowd reacting to you at times, but also because obviously for the TCG specifically, you can see both players' hands. So when an Iono's happening and half the room is looking at the player when it's not their turn, they'll be reacting to something that's been drawn off an Iono or whatever else, and there'll be this big like gasp or shout or cheer or whatever. And we can't talk about it yet because of the context of the broadcast. Not trying to like spoil a moment or whatnot, but just having that hubbub and buzz around you was so exciting. And I think me and Mike were exceptionally lucky. The storyline that fell on our lap for the seniors division final, as well as how the game itself played out, the drama of that game number 1 final turn where Fuguan is trying to dig to find the superior, the only card that can win him the game on the spot. He'd already committed his supporter and ace spec for the turn, so he was fully committed on one avenue, had no other plays, knew he would lose if he missed, and then there was a face-up card. Obviously, there should be no fallout from that, because it's always, like, I think almost everyone's put it to bed already, but just to say my 2 cents, Gabriel was looking away at the time, and it's basically impossible to recreate that sort of shuffle anyway. So take nothing away from anything to do with Gabriel's season or career as a player or anything like that. There's no shady business going on there. It just was a really crazy serendipitous moment where it just happened to be the one card. And then, like, at the time, I didn't even know who had done the shuffle to make the card backwards. So I didn't know if it was a dodgy Fuguan action or a dodgy Gabriel action, and me and Mike basically couldn't really talk about that, but it did give us time to do Mike did some excellent crowd work during that period, and actually added more towards the moment when Fuguan got back into the game or whatnot. So I think we just got really lucky. I think we put a lot of prep in, me and Mike, that morning. I would say we put like 3 or 4 hours of prep in, basically, before the game even started, on the players and what we were going to say and whatnot. That's everything from like discussion to making notes and whatnot. So I think we went in very prepared, and then the game was excellent for us. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And I think we got one of the most memorable moments of Worlds.
Yeah. You were blessed with the best final out of the 3. I think out of the 3 of them, you were blessed with the better final, for sure. Yeah. In consideration of storyline and drama, and the actual game was good as well.
Yeah, because I think everyone knew that Masters Final was going to be Riley unless he bricked, you know? Yeah. So I think everyone went in thinking that, okay, it's a Guardy win. In juniors, it's like, fine.
Fine.
Raging Bolt played the game while Dragodust didn't, you know? It was kind of like chalked from the opening prizes.
And you had
games
in
the juniors, which is a shame.
You had 2 super interesting decks as well. Like 2 decks that nobody would have ever thought would have made the final.
So we got the Murmurings of Zorro from Marco Cifuentes in Masters, making a top 8 through the asymmetrical cut as well. So we weren't necessarily following Marco too much during the tournament Swiss, because we didn't know if he was going to be in that touching distance, but because there were some ties in the final round of Swiss, some 26 pointers made it, and Riley was also the case for that as well, because they lost against Mateusz playing another Zoroark deck in what he thought was the winning in, but then 26 was still safe in the end. So we weren't following Marcus that closely, and then we got to see the Zoroark, and obviously that was the same build that Gabriel then played the next day, which was very, very cool. But yeah, Zorro, I mean, it had this spike at Worlds, and it was, again, a non-Darmanitan list. There was a lot of similarities. That was what was brought, but it just turns out Total was a phenomenal choice for the weekend, and it kind of did the rest, especially in the hands of Gabriel, who's a brilliant player. So,
Alex, I thought you wanted to ask a question there.
No. I was just echoing the same thing that you said. Basically, you took it out of my mouth, Ben. In terms of
sorry,
Joe had everything,
apologies.
and it was delivered in a fantastic way with both Joe and Mike. Right, it was incredible to watch them both on that stage.
I think we gave a good account of ourselves. I mean, everyone's going to bring a different thing to a broadcast, but I do think we gave a good account of what we can both do.
And I think it was
brought excitement to the game.
It was so early in the season, so much earlier in the season as well, where you two were prepping for this. You know, it's
we've done a few broadcasts together and grown as a pair together. So I think there's a lot of that prep that was paid off. I think at Worlds, which I'm very, very happy about.
Yeah, very satisfying.
Nice.
I want to just. Oh, go on. No. You go.
I was going to say. I was just going to say very quickly, Ben. As a spectator, how did you find it?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I mean, day one.
You've been behind the curtains as well as an SME.
Day one, day two was great. I really loved the production of this event. The production was top notch, and you wouldn't expect anything else at Worlds anyway. But the arena really took it to the next level. I know, Joe, you were saying, casting.
I think that's where there's true FOMO. I think that's where I've heard most people be like, I could until that Sunday, it's like any other tournament I see that you've seen throughout the year. So it's like I know exactly what it's like, and it's a shame that I'm not at Worlds, but whatever. I've seen this before. But it's when it's that arena vibe. My goodness, it did just give you, even in games that I didn't care about. Like I don't know enough about VGC to really invest in it, but I felt myself completely drawn in all of those final games just by the atmosphere. It's
such a statement piece in my eyes. I remember the aftermath of the World's final, VG. Everybody was on social media just saying this is miles ahead of any other card game out there in terms of production, and it really was. If you look at the other big card games like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, they're in this spot where they're still in that kind of small town vibe where they have the table, the two silent commentators, and that's the game. Whereas they're making it a real spectacle now. I think they have been over the years, but the arena thing, and especially the interactive floor.
I know. Oh my god, they completely smashed that.
And the standing.
I think it was one of the best for TCG. I think it was good for VG and for Unite, and they added cool bits of information. But I think it just looked so good for TCG.
Yeah, because there's always been an element, especially with TCG, is like how do you make it more entertaining? Because at the end of the day, it's just it is two people playing with a deck of 60 cards, and
it's the highest barrier to entry as well. You have to have played the game to know what's going on.
Everybody's played the League Cup, everybody's played the League Challenge, and you can just play it in a convenience store or a small town shop and in silence, right? And this is just the complete polar opposite, and I think Pokemon have done really well to up the ante to make this more of a presentable and entertaining game.
I think it's the first time where I felt truly proud of to be there. It's like I've been proud of myself for an accomplishment or whatever, but to be like, this is what it means to be at the World Championships.
So proud that you changed your Facebook cover photo to the event
after 8 years. 8 years, I think.
Exactly.
Was it you and Mark?
No, that's the picture.
Me and Mark Plutz was my profile picture, and then my old cover photo was just me being an idiot drinking from a water fountain or something.
Oh yes.
But
the other proudest moment of his life.
It's a great joke.
but when Ethan and Freya came out for the juniors finals though, and I saw them standing and commentating in the arena, it made me super jealous. Because you were potato to earlier, standing there and being part of the crowd, and there was a lot of that crowd play as well that Mike was doing. It was kind of like, let's hear it for so and so, or let's hear it for whatever. It was a real spectacle. Even if you were watching on the sofa in Wales, it was still a spectacle.
Yeah, and I think that's given everyone the fire to be like, 2026, I have to be in the Chase Center.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and they've got to keep upping it. The expectation is there, and rightly so.
What else can they do, Ben? What else can they do?
Well, that's what we were saying a couple of years ago. What else can they do? And
Pokemon holograms as the cards are out. Like,
please.
just steal Yu-Gi-Oh. Just steal
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone a long way from Ben pressing the button to get the Lost Zone ring of
top
bog.
deck.
It's still a top deck. Don't worry about that.
there is still a top deck.
I remember backstage. Tord said to me once. I don't know if it was Tord actually. Somebody saying, "Are
He's
you
just
pressing
thrown a
the
name
button?"
out for clicks.
I think it was Tord, but somebody saying, "Are you pressing the button?" And they were like, "Can you please just keep pressing the top deck button for whatever it is?" And I was like, "Fine,
Keep pressing the button.
Sure, keep pressing the button." Yeah.
They one of my favourite things of the weekend was there was a Cypher Maniac pass turn, and then someone drew a card and they showed the top deck graphic. that was my favourite. That was my favourite treat of the weekend.
I did see that. Yeah.
So that's good, isn't it?
Funny.
It's a perfect card.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, quite good.
It's funny.
But then going into the actual event itself, going into the gameplay, I'll pop up the metadata now from day one, because of course we made great content before Worlds on what our expectations were going into the tournament for meta, what was going to be the most represented, what was going to succeed, etc. We had Golden Go, I think one of you told me just before we started recording, as the top deck.
It was our only S tier deck, I think.
And it was the only S tier deck, which was actually pretty fair reflection. We'll go through conversion in a moment, but I know everybody would have watched Worlds and would have known what was happening and what was good, but I'll just rattle it off for the listeners back home. So top deck in terms of representation, Golden Go, then it was Dragapult, Dusknoir. Oh, sorry, I should say the percentage actually, because it's quite a difference. Golden Go with 23%, let's say. It's 22.9. Then Dragapult, Dusknoir with 17.2%. Gardevoir 13. Raging Bolt 10. Then a massive drop off. Gardevoir with 4.9%.
Grimmsnarl.
And then, oh, sorry, what did I say?
Gardevoir.
Oh, sorry. Grimmsnarl with 4.9%, and then Flareon Noctowl 4.4. I think when I saw this at day one, I was really taken by the large drops in percentage as we go through the decks. I know there's less players at Worlds, but 22% all the way down to 17, 5%. You're talking about 40 odd players, 41 players. Taking Golden Go over Dusknoir, and then the same thing as you go down. It wasn't as a level playing field as we've been seeing throughout the season, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I think it's been more open. But yeah, everyone seemed. I think the timing is really interesting as a case study for this, because I think last Worlds as well, Drago was also a plus 20% deck, and I think people expected Drago more so than Dengo. But just when Black Bolt and White Flare came out on the ladder, Golden Go in that first week had a really, really good week of tournaments. And that's about a month out ahead of the World Championships. And I think if I'm a Worlds player, obviously the first thing I'm doing is testing the new cards and whatnot. But when you see a deck like that in the first week have such good results, almost everyone has to turn their attention to that deck and at least give it a week of testing. And then some people would have stuck with that and just said, okay, I know the engine's good, I can iron this out. And even if we started to see heading into Worlds a little more closely, if there were going to start being this narrative of got a tech for Dengo, whatnot, people were already committed to the deck and said all my testing's in Dengo, I have to stick with Dengo. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting case study just for this tournament, and also looking at NEIC, the large majors where people want to commit a month or so of testing. That timeline for the online scene actually, I think, does make a big impact even at Worlds caliber players, because I think it's been written off a lot of the time that online doesn't mean anything. I do think that would have had an impact, at least in the sort of flow chart of players testing for Worlds. So that was the one thing that stuck out to me, because I think most people expected Dengo to be maybe touching 15% on the highest end.
Yeah.
I think almost every tier list I saw never had, even if they had Dengo the top in popularity, I don't think anyone said it was getting close to 20%.
We didn't have it anywhere near 20%. I think
we had
on about
12, right? We said. catching.
Yeah.
We put it down as 12%. I think when you see so many tier lists, and I had a chance to flick through a few the last few days just to kind of pick up some information again. None of us were really sort of drastically wrong, right? Everyone came to a fairly close consensus of what they would expect to see as the top 3, top 4, maybe even top 5 decks. Percentages will vary, and especially will vary when we're looking at the actual percentages from Worlds as well. But it congregates around how Golden Go performed as a deck, but also everyone knows how strong it was because, like you said, that first week was incredible. It still continued to see play on these online tournaments, and that's where the bulk of the testing will be because there's no other way to have been testing, the new inclusions of the cards that it gained and the power that it gained just from that additional consistency. Then it's just about tweaking. So when we talk about Regidrago being a 20% plus deck from last year, it had like a whole season, right, to be constantly tweaked and tested, and it at least half the season.
Last year for Worlds, it was bad until Kieran came out, right? Kieran was the needle mover.
True. Oh yeah, that's true. There's NAC.
Yeah. It was like a meme deck at NAIC, and one person had a breakout result, but the list was ultimately like quite bad. So I think it's actually quite similar in that Dengo gained a big buff and then Drago gained a big buff. That's why I mentioned it, really. But
I guess it's the view on like Golden Go's always had. We've always kind of spoke about Golden Go before it was buffed, having a good time, fairly good time into like these stage 2s, which are generally quite protected for big HP, right?
Yeah,
because it can get hit.
Yeah.
But what was it that made it fall down before Genesect gave it the extra buff to get those, I guess, additional Golden goes out, the Levincia to get the energies to just basically keep cycling through as an attacker, even if you're on the Badoo lock for a little bit as well, just to kind of get you those extra turns, extra KOs, extra prizes. But because it was that some of the decks that just before Golden Go became good again were also so good into the other top 2, Grimsnarl is the one that we highlighted at 4.9%, taking such a sort of battering to Golden Go, and that's why it's fallen.
And Grimsnarl was the second most popular online as well, by the way.
Yeah,
in the build-up to Worlds.
It just felt like a perfect storm for people to the way they were testing Golden Go, especially with the many variations that we saw across the weekend as well, or even across the list that have been sort of put on Limitless and whatnot. It just meant that we always kind of phased the question. I think we phased the question. I think one of the other podcasts or a couple of other podcasts phased the question about, well, it's kind of brewed with Golden Go at this forefront. Does Gardevoir suddenly pop back up again, which is always so interesting to kind of be thinking about, because we also put Dragapult Dusknoir as our other top tier deck, because again we saw that gained a lot from things like Hilda and obviously the way it's played, and it's just got a fairly balanced field that it can go into, and a lot of top players have always played it as well. It just led into a really interesting world spot, I think, for a lot of these decks.
Yeah, totally agree. And then moving on to our day 2 then. Our day 2 meta then shifted quite a bit. However, the 2 top players remained. Golden Go then risen to 29.9%, Dragapult Dusknoir 16.5%, Raging Bolt 12.6%, Gardevoir 9.4%, and then Charizard Pidgeot 4.7%, and then Dragapult EX Monkey Dory, which is the straight Dragapult build, also with 4.7%. So dropped off the list entirely. Marnie's Grimmsnarl on EV box. And then, of course, the Raging Bolt and Gardevoir would switch position there as well. I think no big surprises on the top 2 decks. However, Charizard Pidgeot was actually a deck that we've spoken about quite a bit on our tier list episode just before Worlds.
It was, yeah.
We thought it could do something. We thought that it was actually in a weird position where, if played correctly, it could actually do quite well.
I think we acknowledge the risk, right? We acknowledge that Dragapult's the risk of the deck, but there was finally selling points of the deck as well. So, and I think that's reflected in the players who eventually did well with the deck, in that, like, Irvin's run was incredible and take nothing away from it, but as soon as they faced a Dragapult, they lost, basically. And they ended up losing in Cup to Gardevoir, which was unfortunate, but, like, if you look at their Swiss rounds, it was the Draga that was their undoing. Actually, Junior, who made top 4, faced a bunch of Dragapult, so I think that's the more impressive run, even though Junior was like lower on the standings throughout both the days in Swiss. Actually, the decks they had to fight, I think, was the more impressive run of the two.
Was there a strong element of matchup roulette this Worlds?
100%. I mean, there are some polarizing good decks, right? Like, I think Dragon Dusk being that popular, wanting to dodge Gardevoir, ultimately Gardevoir wanting to dodge Grimstyle and Zard, and even some Dengos to an extent, because a lot of the Dengos were playing healing cards and Scrapper. They really came with their like knives out for Gardevoir, basically.
2 rows.
Like, Raging Bolt obviously has to dodge Guardia as well. Like every deck has a dodgy matchup. There was no like clear I beat everything deck for this Worlds.
No.
Yeah, we're talking about also like, I know we just touched on Dragapult, Dusknoir there as well. A lot of them were playing, again, it's gone back to that cycle of the videos I've done before about teching in 1 card, or 2, and in some people's, the Jamming Towers, which has a collateral damage effect, or sort of an AoE effect across a lot of the board, right? It gives you a chance to maybe gain a turn back against Golden Go if you trap a Air Balloon Genesect, for example, or and then that way you can build up your Dragapults again and kind of weave in another 4 prize turn or so on. Or you get the collateral damage into Gardevoirs that are playing Drifloon and the the Charm package. So it's there's lots of little like things at play. These small tweaks. I mean, I think Joe highlighted a moment ago, and I think it's something we kind of raised a little bit before. But Toad Scroll just being just a card that's just so impactful against Golden Go, then you get collateral damage to other Dragapults, you get collateral damage into other Gardevoirs as well. Yeah, so much to think about. But at the same time, it's the World Championship. So what do you expect when players are preparing with a whole month for a tournament like this?
Mm-hmm.
One deck list that hasn't featured on the day 1 or day 2 graphic was actually a deck that you said you may have taken, Joe, if you were actually playing this event, which was Joltik Box.
Yeah.
Are we surprised at the lack of Joltik Box in day 1 and day 2, I suppose?
I'm not so surprised. I mean, there was a risk to it, right? Because Raging Bot has been a consistent top 3 all season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a hard take to the tournament, and it's like, it's a really unfun, uninspiring choice, to be honest. Like, it's not like a good deck. You can't really show any skill. It's an opening hand simulator deck. So, like, I completely understand why no one would really feel that confident being like, yeah, I feel so good about this pick. You know? But I think, like, purely from a metagame standpoint, I think it was okay. And I think what was one of the shining lights was the Joltik Dengo, to be fair, which is a even cooler way to build the deck. And I've been putting time into this just for the online ladder, and obviously it won the seniors division, which most people will look at, but it also did have a day 2 run in the masters division as well.
Yeah,
it did,
in top 16, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 201 in day 2.
201 in day 2
bumped itself up pretty high.
Yeah, and the list are slightly different, but the core is that you get to play supporter cards that actually can search the deck and draw, and Dengo offers draw, which is just better than having Crispin, which is a really bad supporter, basically, to rely on all game and just rely on like Fez and you draw. So I really like the combination, and it still does the same thing, right? It's like, I'm going to keep you honest with Iron Hands. If you can't beat this, I'm going to run away with every game I face against you. And I have now the backup of extra draw power and push potential, and half the loss condition for a regular Joltik is like, oh, I can't reach on this Dragapult or this Guardia or whatever else. And Golden Go should have the easy means of doing that. So, yeah, I think it was a really cool deck that people took the risk on, and some were rewarded with it.
Yeah, no.
I wish I'd taken it more seriously, because I mean, I'd seen it in a couple of online events. I think Azul did a video on it. So, like, I knew of the deck, but I'd never given it any real serious consideration, to be fair. I'd also faced it in a couple of cups.
I think
ahead of Worlds. I faced it twice in cups, actually.
I think it kind of had that exposure towards Worlds coming up, where the exposure just wasn't quite there to gather a popular remit. You know what I mean?
I think it's just too easy to think about serious known quantities than to be like, I'm going to waste a week of my Worlds testing on this deck that may end up being a meme. It's like, for those who did, they kind of struck gold a little bit. But even then, there's some unintuitive counts in some of these lists that can only really come from testing the deck quite a lot. So I think it would be very easy to have like tried it and put it down after a couple of days. You know?
Yeah, agreed. And then moving on to conversion then. Oh, go on.
No. Go.
No. Okay. Then moving on to conversion then. If we just... I'm going to filter by top. But the Golden Go, of course, with 23.46%. I'm going through the most popular decks now. Raging Bolt, 22.2. Dragon Ball Dust Noir. Dragon Ball Dust Noir had a terrible conversion at 17%.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Is it not?
What? Yeah, that's not
No.
terrible.
21 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 17%.
I mean, compare it to
then.
Gardevoir, compare it to Grimmsnarl, compare it to
I
Joltik.
suppose. Yeah, okay, fine. Gardevoir.
I mean, Gardevoir won the
13.19.
tournament and it had a 13% conversion. That's a poor conversion.
Yeah. Then Grimmsnarl Frostlass 11.76. It's because the numbers are so polarizing. 123 people entered with Dragon Ball Dust Noir. It was tipped as the second best deck in format, and only 21 had made day 2. It just doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It is.
I mean, the conversion's fine. I think 20% is a big win for any deck. If it's a conversion above 20, I think you're buzzing. I think if you're below sort of 14%, we're looking like it wasn't an easy run for these decks.
That range changes. I think for Worlds, that's the kind of range we're looking at. I think because we've seen previous tournaments where we looked at conversion and it was like, 10%, that's okay, actually.
Yeah.
Also a little bit higher than 10%. It's actually probably starting to look fairly
This
good.
is a
But when it drops
medium-sized
to,
tournament, right?
when it drops to
And
like
then,
the single percentages, we're like, that's pretty rough.
The top conversion rates, even though some of these decks were only 2 had entered.
Probably not worth mentioning then.
Yeah.
Charizard,
yeah.
Dragapult, 50%.
We're going there, are we?
Charizard, Dusknoir, 50%. Melodic, Farigiraf, 50%. Blissey, 33%. And Ho Armarouge, 4 had entered.
Cifuentes was the one person to take
Blissey.
it through with Blissey. Yeah.
Well, they had a good result with it previous in the season, right?
Correct.
They
Second
made
at
a
regional,
final.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made a final at regional. So, I think from what I read, he wanted to have fun. So hats off.
And that he did.
And that he
He
did.
did,
Taking a
certainly
Blissey full Monkey Dory. Conversion
Should we look at
rates
some
then.
lists?
Yeah, let's have a look at the lists then going into day 2. If I go into standings, you can see them here. So do you want to go through the top cut decks, or were there any sort of decks of interest to you guys throughout day
Well,
2?
let's run down the ASIM, shall we? There was 3 Golden Go, 2 Dragon Dusk, 2 N Zoroark,
Yeah.
2 Charizard Pidgeot Dust Noir, 1 Raging Bolt, and 1 Gardevoir was the asymmetrical top cut, which I think was, even as we were getting closer to the end of the Swiss round, still jaw-dropping to think that 2 Zoro and 2 Charizard were crazy. I think we knew that Golden Go was gravitating to the top all weekend, but seeing that much of Zoro and Zard was a big surprise.
And what I loved about these 2 archetypes being in the top cut, I believe the Charizards and the Zoroarks are from completely different testing groups. So
Yeah.
The
even
lists
though
are very different.
Lists are different. Yeah.
So the lists are completely different, 2 different testing groups, and these are not popular decks. There's only so many Zoroarks and so many Charizards that actually made Worlds day 2, and for them to make the top cut is pretty impressive.
So I
Pretty
mean, like,
impressive
if
to
we
the
if we
field.
take the Charizards as an example, you obviously have Odin who won and came second at regionals
Back-to-back. Yeah.
with Charizard. So it's kind of no surprise that you may see him taking it again, running it back one more time. And I guess it's similar with the Japanese contingent as well, because obviously they had that large Champions League where Charizard suddenly popped back up, obviously in different variants. There was like the Dragon Ball Charizard, there was the usual sort of Charizard, Pidgeot and Dusknoir sort of combinations as well. So again, it's like almost no surprise to see who those players would be, or who are, I should say, piloting them. I think with Mateusz's Zoroark, I think I saw a couple of, again, murmurings online of either Mateusz or some of the other Polish players actually piloting Zoroark on some online tournaments as well ahead of Worlds, just trying to refine this, play against, I guess, people when they commit to an online tournament, they're generally a bit more committed to playing proper games or thinking about testing a little bit more as well. So it's like a better way to test certain decks. So we kind of saw that kind of evolution So yeah, really interesting. Sorry, the ASIM, how many total players was it again, Joe?
It was 11.
Was it 11? Only one Guardi seems crazy considering it went all the way after sneaking their way in as well.
Made all the way.
Yeah, I mean Keon was on the winning in stream game.
Yeah.
And there was also Cal Connor, who was going pretty far with the deck, but it didn't. Like I said, it was not an easy run for Gardevoir. Like Dengo is genuinely not an easy matchup, especially how some of the Dengos were teching, either with like prize scamming mechanics from Ceruledge, Briar, Chansey, or Togekiss or whatever else, or just having Scrapper plus healing cards. Like all of this is tough for Gardevoir to deal with.
It's just because they can afford to play 4 boss and boss every turn now as well. You know,
yes,
that inherent
just lots of
support,
bosses tough too.
Boss,
and yeah, all Guardy can do is not judge, Iono and Prey, right? But there's 2 Dengo on the board, one's got a balloon on, and suddenly they're like still in trouble, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to run through some of the lists then? Let's go through the Zoroarks first then, I suppose. Or do you want to go through
Papilla
Pines?
World Champion, I reckon.
Oh, do you want to go
probably go with the World Champion first,
Fine.
They've won the penultimate tournament of the year, so you should at least give them that.
Give them the respect they deserve.
Jeez.
I mean, I saw this list. It's only really Fluttermane that piques my interest, I suppose.
Well, I think what's interesting is that Riley got second at the NAIC with quite a different list.
Yes.
And made a few changes after having such great success with it. So I think it's interesting to see that there's still an acknowledgement of the format shifting from Riley. Adding in Mew, adding in Flutter, adding in Devo, going 4 Monkey 4 Dark. These are all changes. Obviously, losing to 4 Monkey Dark in the NAIC finals may have had an influence on his thinking going higher on Monkey, but I think the list generally was catering more towards Devo as a strategy in the deck, which I think is kind of cool. And yeah, just getting rid of a few other Pokemon. Like Riley had Budew and Shaman in the list that was for the NAIC. I think their list for NAIC was quite unorthodox, and now it's gone back to like
it's gone back to the basics.
As cookie cutter Guardy as possible, plus Flutter, which was like a already discussed tech going into Worlds.
I absolutely I do love this list though. I
Me
really
too.
think
I'm very happy that this is the list that's being printed as well, because I think this is a really
Correct.
fair reflection of what Gardevoir looks like. And so often when Worlds lists get printed, there's like weird cards in lists that you're
you know what I'm
I
thinking
don't
of.
like this.
I'm thinking of Mew in Japan. That list was just so chock full of different texts and stuff.
Vance's list? Was Vance's list that weird?
Yeah, it had like a 3
It had gloves,
right?
didn't it? Oh yeah, it did have some weird stadiums.
Yeah,
but I think Vance's list was pretty standard as well.
It did. I mean, it did have its quirks, but it did have like a lot of different cards in there. But this just seems like the deck you would give somebody who's first trying Gardevoir. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah. I think that's a really good thing though. I think Riley playing perfectly like with the list that everyone knows is like really impressive, to be fair. Whereas it's so many people are trying to like steal an edge by having this surprise factor card at Worlds, and I feel like very often you can hear people talking themselves into that trap of being like, I need this extra jump scare card in here, there, or everywhere, rather than just playing the consistent 60 and just like playing great.
This is the great example of that. You know, it's no thrills. It does what it says on the tin. You know, this is a great example of that.
Riley also didn't hit a single Pult until the ASIM either. It was only in ASIM and finals that they finally hit Pults. They won a bunch of Guardy Mirrors, which is pretty cool.
Go through their matches now. Oh, Toby Clark.
Yeah, I spoke to Toby.
Toby Clark.
He was one of the guys I slid into the DMs to grab stuff. Yeah.
Is that right?
So shout out to Toby.
And they played some big names as well. They played Isaiah, they played Rune, they played Daniel Magda, they played John Eng, they played Mateusz, they played Orvind, you know, and of course Justin and Shizuki at the end as well. You know, that's not an easy run. That is some Worlds run.
But that's the World Championships, right?
It is the World Championships.
Especially when we've gotten to the stage where we quote unquote have reduced the number nowadays. You are expecting to see people who have been consistent across the season,
bringing it back,
doing well. Yeah,
good point.
And it's
good point.
Yeah, we're so elitist.
Good to see. Okay, well, let's go through the next list then. Whose do we want to see next? Do we want to go through Justin's?
Yeah, I think Justin's is fine.
Yeah,
I think we've talked about it. Again, this is the Dragadusk list, right?
Yes.
It's like these are the counts that we knew going in. I think 2 Jamming Towers the only count that was buffed, but I think a number of players actually did that for the tournament.
Yeah.
I think it helps the Itchy Pollen scam to deny Evo and deny Candy. And also it helps if Guardy actually gets there that you can still get through a 2-prizer with a charm on.
It's really really satisfying, because when I first saw this list, I thought, oh, this is just great, because when we first reviewed Hilda, we thought this is a 2 of in Dragadusk Noir because you play in the Neo Upper Energy now, blah blah blah, and that's exactly what we're seeing with these lists. So yeah, very satisfying. So again,
it's awesome that I imagine Justin's is going to be the 4th deck to be printed for Worlds, with Raging Bolt winning juniors and Golden Go winning seniors. So I think this is a great 4 decks to play into each other. A lot of the time the World Championships decks are just a great time capsule, but don't actually have that much fun to play against each other. I think these 4 will be really cool.
So what do you think it'll be? You think it'll be just Dragapult,
Raging Bolt,
Bolt,
the two Masters Finals, Raging Bolt which won, and Dengo,
Goldengo
which won.
And okay, fine. Yeah,
I imagine.
I agree. Yeah, it'd be a big surprise if it wasn't that contingent as well, especially when you're getting showcased multiple different decks properly in the best kind of way as well. So
agreed. Any lists we want to go through now? Go on, you pick.
I mean, I feel like we should talk about each of the individual decks, right? Just a quick nod to Shizuki's list. It's a Owl Bolt. It has the Chien-Pao as a tech inclusion, which is quite popular in Japan.
Chien-Pao?
It's the
Chien-Pao was something
play down,
I saw.
remove stadium.
I saw it popularized in Japan in a lot of City League lists towards the end of their kind of cycle of City Leagues.
And obviously it did well in their Nationals tournament. The Turbo Bolt played it as well, although this is an Owl Bolt, obviously. But yeah, ultimately it's pretty bog Bolt that the tech, I suppose, is E-Switch and can ride on over Slither, but that's also something very popular in Japan.
Yeah, agreed.
The
two Zard lists are a little bit different. I think Junior's one's a little bit more cleaner in terms of a Charizard list. I mean, it's kind of the cards that you typically would expect nowadays. You could do you still have the kind of odd choices of some of the ace specs as a maximum belt for Junior there in comparison to what Erdvin played.
The box.
Exactly, but Erdvin also played. He likes his crazy cards to include in Charizard. I remember his Pokestop Charizard back in the regionals, but he's still got a Squawkabilly EX in his one. Just saying, well, I'm gonna just get into the game, I suppose, if I need to. If I have to give this up.
I think I respect Zard Pidgeot in having the ability to play lots of one-off cards, but I still don't like it. even if you are playing Pidgeot, I still hate it.
It's a very unconventional way to think with this deck, but
I mean, it's a Jekyll and Hyde deck, right? The deck's busted when Pidgeot's online and awful when it's not.
You're going for if we're getting these 3 games in, I'm gonna have 2 good games. I'm hoping to have 2 good games.
Yeah.
And then one of them's I'm gonna have to sack off because I started Chi Yu and nothing else.
Just imagine the aura farming of secret boxing from Mezagoza Candy and just knowing you're gonna hit heads.
I still recall back to what I think it was. I think he was always been playing against Gabriel Smart, and Chip was there recording it, and it's that last card that won.
The fire energy. Iconic, honestly. Stick it in the Louvre.
Stick it on the iceberg.
That's an iceberg for sure.
We can go through the Zoroark list now then, I suppose. We can go through Mateus's first. Played a couple of these Ogerpons. Played a Cornerstone and a Wellspring. Wellspring for the Sob. Cornerstone for the ability against the the plethora, which we love that word, the plethora of Golden
Dengo is probably
the
first one you
Dengo's the
point
target
to.
there.
Correct, yeah.
I think we saw a lot we saw Tord play Cornerstone in his Dragapult.
Yes.
I saw Dengos playing their own Cornerstone for Mirror. Like a lot of Toadscruel, Cornerstone, Crustal, Ace Nullifier. Like a lot of people were ready for Golden Go.
Elliot
I
played.
think that was the build up to the tournament. I think everyone knew
didn't
Dengo was going to be popular.
Didn't even do enough when you're getting 27% conversion or whatever it was.
Didn't even stop them. Yeah.
Couldn't hack it.
Elliot played towards round 2 of World's Day 1 and just sent us a message, Cornerstone, with an unhappy face afterwards.
What did he play? Dengo?
Yeah, he played Dengo.
And we leaked that on this channel, so it's our fault.
I really like this list. I think this list is cool. I think this list is I think this is a list I'd be willing to try out.
I think he's actually come out and said that this obviously was a very specific testing to get for Worlds, to prepare this list specifically for Worlds. And I think because he had the quote unquote, we've spoken about it quite a few times across the many pods we've had, that kind of semi surprise factors of certain cards, like that Cornerstone in his eyes, I guess, the Wellspring as well, just having a bigger, tankier, corner sub Pokemon as well.
With one retreat as well.
It just meant that it was much more catered for this tournament. It's probably not far off making a few changes to still be quite good. Obviously, we're going to see another Zoroark list in a moment as well. But yeah, I think that was something he's actually mentioned online. But yeah, kudos to Mateus. He's what an incredible season. And just incredible players that we've seen come from Poland in recent years. Similar with Odwin in Finland.
Yeah. Agreed.
Definitely agree. Always like to see what they've built because it's rogue building with purpose a lot of the time, which I think is really cool to see. One of the coolest aspects of the game.
They don't often miss either. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then the next Zoroark, which was Marco Cifuentes, of course, with the 1/1 Toadscruel. They played
2-1.
Did they play
2-1.
exactly the same?
Same 60.
Yeah.
Same 60.
They both tested together. I think again.
Yeah,
what they've kind of mentioned online.
It's not bad, is it? You got a world champ to the right and the left of you testing.
But your world champ's going, I'm playing Blissey. So
yeah, one of them.
Sorry, bro.
Some busy testing, or I have to talk to another world champ instead now.
Damn it. Really like this list. Big fan. I think it's really clean. It works into the meta. I'm a big fan of Toadscruel. Just with that Slime Mold Colony, great ability. Again, it's had to find moments where it's weaved itself in. We've seen it obviously in that Toadscruel EX actual deck from Ray Chen and them performing super well with it. But it's always been like you can really kind of just get it into other lists as well, and Zoroark's able to do that because you're trading away, you're seeing so many cards, you're kind of just bursting through into these things, and then you're still using a very good attacker when you need to with the Reshiram's and the attacker you're using. Ursaluna, Petrunt's still an attacker as well. I think this is it keeps a lot of things in check, I think is the way I'd put it.
Yeah, it even keeps Draga Dusk a lot in check because of those night stretches that they rely on to actually burst through the Zoros. So if you can establish this in a couple of matchups, it's a big deal. And Gabrielle faced like a ton of Dengo. I think it was like 6 or something, including their top 8 and top 4 game. So like clearly good into straight Dengo. One surprise for me is how many Dengo chose to cut the 1/1 Sizzle package. And I think Sizzle is a nuisance for this Zoro build. So that's a small note, is that if you want to have soft tech in Dengo for both Toad and Cornerstone, Sizzle could easily be stonking back up.
But I guess I was just trying to think about how I haven't properly had the chance to fully test this, but you can spend turns to like early on play like a normal Zoroark, and then if Golden Go explodes, burns 7 energies effectively, right? Because with 1 attached, you then can just go mid game, TM evolution up a Toadscruel into Toadscruel, right? And then that kind of closes out a lot.
Exactly. That's why you need a Sizzle.
Yeah.
Because then they just go boss Sizzle, it's over. You mug.
We could do it again. Wait, there's super odds.
Do it again. Yeah, I mean, yes, the second Evo is not just for the box fodder or the prizing situation. Like you said, Alex, it gives you that avenue to do it mid game. And I definitely saw Gabriel. I think it's in the top 4 game. Gabriel had to face a Golden Go that had Cornerstone, which meant he had to play around Cornerstone the entire game whilst also trying to navigate the Toad Scroll.
Yeah.
Really, really fun top 4 game, actually. It was cat and mousey with, like, both players using Turos at different times and, like, where they're attaching was weird. The one thing that I'm not sure on this list is the Janines. Like, obviously it's not a good card. We know that. But, like, you can see why it's in there, but I don't know how much I love it over just PP up E-Switch that Mateusz played. And Mateusz also played Turbo Energize. So Turbo Energize is one way to play around item lock and still attack. And Janine is also trying to do the same thing. So they're both trying to serve similar purposes, I think. Janine gives you more jump scare. They've hit a naked Zoro, and you can be like, surprise, I'm raging now. But
just had the surprise.
It gives you more.
Yeah,
it gives you more consistent way to turn to attack, right? I quite like it, and it's also good for it's also good for a Petrant game and.
Yeah, but so would PP up E-Switch. Like, there's already 2 E-Switch being committed to this deck.
I agree.
And I would like to be playing more. I would like to be playing different supporters, I think, on most turns. Like, when we watched Marco face Justin in the Top Cut game, there was, like, this one window of opportunity where Marco had to play either Turo or Janine. Couldn't pick between the two. Ended up missing both either. But it was, like, either would have been a really good play here. But if you have PP up and Turo in the deck, like, you could have done a lot in a turn. You could have done everything. If you like hit pieces,
I suppose
you could Iono and dig for the thing, whereas like you had to physically find the Janine off trade, otherwise it's just the window closes immediately.
I mean, if you're going to put a PP up, then aren't you forced to just play more research and more Ultra Ball? Because he's not.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
I
mean, you have trade.
Two of the best cards to ever be
You
printed in Pokémon
TCG.
TCG. I think.
You do have trade. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's the one thing I'm unconvinced on the Janine personally, but it does open up Mochi, and Mochi opens up Zoro to KO Fez. It opens up Petrunt to be a beta even into stage 2s if they've taken 5.
We saw that KO onto Fez, right? I think.
Yes, but that was from Subjugating Change. That wasn't from Janine.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, it's true.
But yes, both of them have synergy with the Mochi.
Interesting.
Okay.
I think the biggest takeaway for the Zoros is that it went away from Cyrano engine, which I think most people were playing and was like kind of fraudulent compared to just Harmony.
The Bombardier engine is gone, is it?
Yeah, I always thought that was fraudulent, so I'm glad that that's out the way.
What am I going to do with my filler?
I bought one of them and then Ben kept it, which is good.
No, I bought one for you and then you decided not to play it.
Hold on.
Here he is. Here he is.
Is it German?
See the price on that.
€3 on it.
It's 5.
I'll sell it for that as well.
You won't. You'll give that to me.
I've got some more of Rab's cards here.
Oh yeah.
Right. And they make you Zarsh and EX.
Japanese Samurott, anyone?
No. You're right.
That's one of yours, Rab.
Is it?
Kept on the side.
Might
he
be.
has no
Maybe
idea what he's been spending his money.
Maybe someone gave it to me and I just lumped it in with.
No,
yours.
yeah. Probably.
Anyway.
Back to our list. The last couple.
Do you want to go through Piper's Golden Go?
Yes.
Yeah. So she played the Togekiss. Is she not Togekiss?
Togekiss.
And she got, by the way, completely scammed in her Top Cut game. Game 1, double Genesect prize. Game 3, triple gimme prized into bolts.
Yeah. It was gutting. I mean, it made for some good images on Twitter, but
great poker face.
It let people,
pretty gutting.
Yeah, that's true. It let people argue about prizes once again, which I've maintained is a terrible mechanic for years, by the way. So
it encouraged the conversation, which is always good.
Prince Mysterious Pearl, you cowards!
You didn't even bring them the last time we played. Did
you leave them out once?
I left it. I mean, it depends which cube it is.
Yeah, I did leave it out once because I forgot to put it in.
Your cubes are always a farce anyway.
Do we want to talk about Togekiss?
Yeah.
I think
we've already semi-mentioned it, right? It's one of those. I think I spoke about like there's a lot of weird different variations of Golden Go because they're all looking for that edge over one over that the way Joe's kind of put it, the extra percentage, not over just one another, but over the expected meta that they're looking to go to. So it's that cheesing an extra prize. It's this Togekiss as an option. The Chansey, which I think we saw on stream, was the one that John Eng played.
Right.
I don't know. And what was that? Is it reserve? Not reserve.
Academy at Night and redeemable ticket.
Redeemable ticket. That's it. I keep saying reserve ticket. But yeah. And then of course there's the other ways of kind of cheesing different prizes as well by protecting your board with the additional Turos, the picnic baskets, and just kind of finding different ways to maneuver different matchups, right? So this is one way, and it's on a flip, which sometimes that matters. You only really need to maybe get like one off majority of the time, I think, because either you're doing it on a single prizer to continue your 2-2-2s, or if you miss, you're taking a big 2 prizer and you flip the coin, you're getting 3 prizes, and that's generally more than enough to get you over the line.
Yeah, I have to imagine that you give yourself 2 flips in the majority of games to get 1 heads. I think that's more or less the idea. Yeah.
But I meant that's what I mean. So you only really need 1, but yeah, if you hit heads, you only need 1. But yeah, you're trying to get 2 off to get that 50% chance, and it's actually a pretty nice way to actually get to go about doing things, right? Otherwise, the lists, in terms of the actual card counts and numbers, I think there's 1 odds and 1 Levincia here. A lot of lists are playing double Levincia. Like I said, there's another card that's given some additional power to these Golden Goes now. 3 bosses orders. There's nothing too crazy. It's just a Togekiss having to be played again. We've seen it before earlier in the season. I can't remember exactly who played it, but it's been a known quantity, as it were.
Yeah, it did have its little stick of popularity, didn't it? The Togekiss. The baby
certainly dug them out.
The baby Golden Go. I wasn't a fan of this before Worlds. The baby Golden
Landon Caitler played that in his list, right?
I didn't like it.
Baby Dengo became a lot like basically people wanted to steal the space from the 1-1 Sizzle that was like quite popular, right? 1-1 Sizzle was in a lot of the online lists and a lot of the Japanese lists, and everyone was like, let me join that space real quick and just have this. Because the main idea is that you can play a single prize board, strike it rich for the first single prize KO into like mirror and whatnot. That's why you see the 1 Ultra Ball as well, so you can Arven for Ultra Ball and not have to go Nest Ball Genesect, because then they just go counter catch KO for 2 and then go 2-2-2.
Yeah, that was my issue with it. My issue with it was if you're playing it in mirror, there's so much gusting ability in Golden Go in her anyway that they would just gust around it.
But your board is
that's
single
why you
prizer,
go. That's why you go just gimmies and the first attack you do is strike it rich.
Yeah.
But even if they just gust a gimme, it's better than, you know.
If they just gust a gimme, that's great.
Then you're the first one to take 2 prizes. You're the first
how
one to activate that race.
How are they using a single prizer to gust a gimme, and like how do they find their strike it rich and gust? That's so difficult for them to do. Such a specific hand for that to happen.
Maybe I'm just...
If they're gusting a gimme, they're doing it with a 2 prize, and then you're like, happy days. I'm in business here.
The Strike It Rich initially was... which was the tournament when the US contingent brought Golden Go? Was it EUIC?
EUIC.
And then the first flip of trying to find that counter, because everyone was like, oh my god, Golden Go's back, or Golden Go's here again, was to try and be able to beat the other Golden Go's, and this was one of the cards that you were able to do so, right? So, again, no surprise that we saw it as an option. In terms of like the mirror, because that's what people expected. I even spoke to a couple of other people, and I think I've seen a couple of the other lists. It was Miloslav who was like, yeah, we've got a really soft tech, but it's kind of cool, and which was a fan Rotom. Which again, it's
before the tournament saying this is lit. You got to keep an eye.
Yeah. Well, that's we exchanged a couple of messages, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I get it. But and then he sent a picture of one of his like first 2 rounds into like just a double cornerstone, and he was like, I have no cornerstone tech. I was like, gosh, damn.
Unfortunately, Fan Rotom does have an ability. That is a real shame. It's an ability that doesn't do anything in his list, but yeah, that's a shame.
That is an issue.
You just shuffle it up, it's fine. Just on the first turn. But yeah, that's Golden
deck search, lovely.
Do we want to go through any further lists? Because we're an hour and 20. So
I don't think we have to go too far. I think the only highlights would be the bottom of the top 32, where there's Terrabox and Ho-Oh Armor Rouge, which I think were both kind of cool to look at.
Yeah, sure.
So there's Alex Szymanski.
Alex Szymanski's.
I think just to paint the rest of the picture of top 32, Yeah. The rest of top 32, a lot of Dengo, a good amount of Bolt, some Dragadusk, and a couple Guardies in there as well.
Yeah.
But then there's the very interesting 2 decks that clung on to 32.
I played against a Ho-Oh Armarouge with my Matang deck a couple of weekends ago. I absolutely battered it. It's great.
Proud of yourself,
a chance. Yeah, certainly. Because you can get around Legacy Energy because they're burnt because of heat transmissibility. It's great.
Thanks for that insight. We'll go.
Yeah,
give that
no
a go.
worries. That's fine. Fernando Cifuentes' Blissey list. I think this was
in there
somewhere. How far down you going?
I'm
63rd.
Top 64, mate. Top 64.
I guess he is a world champ. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Couple of Cornerstone. Could have faced Miloslav. You never know.
This list is great.
Never checked if it was. No,
if we're stretching down to 128, Melodic Farigarath is popped up.
Yes.
There as well.
I think that did top cut juniors. I think it top 4 juniors. Yeah, top 4 juniors as well.
What, Melodic?
Yeah.
Did it? Brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Bring
interesting.
it on. No
played Fan Rotom for your giraffe legs. Come on.
No Crustle made day 2. That's also one thing we needed to talk about, because I remember I wasn't a big fan of it.
Me and Joe said it could be one of those decks that finds the right path.
Could sneak its way in. Yeah. No, it didn't.
But I guess alongside all the other extra random little text that you get in certain decks, that is generally good at.
0% conversion. That is funny.
It struggled.
Yeah,
there was one on winning in as well, to be fair.
There was one on winning in, yeah.
You were following one-on-one. Wait, was it on stream? Or was it
Greg Minkley was on stream.
After his performances before, yeah.
It got a lot of mentions on stream, Crystal, throughout day 1. I know that.
The fear.
It was a bit of a boogeyman
on how they were doing. The fear in people's eyes.
I mean, that was another reason why Cornerstone was the specific tech for Dengo, right? It at least gave you something that could punch a crusty boy if you had to.
Crusty boy.
It doesn't knock it out, but at least you can hit it.
Not many things can. Tell you that for free.
Crystal knocks it out as well. Ugh.
Well, we can save our Frankfurt preview for a couple of weeks now, I suppose.
I mean, it's mostly the meta we've discussed, right?
I don't know if it changes too much.
It is the meta we discussed, but I think in a couple of weeks we can chat about it, I suppose.
Yeah, we can have a little pre Frankfurt chat about it, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lovely.
Season 2. The second full season of SpilltheTeaCG coming right up.
And I'm sure, just like with Pokemon, how they're leveling up each season, you'll see that.
So I've already proposed to you two.
Our audio is going like a change curve.
I've proposed new jingles. I've proposed new intros. I've proposed it, but you guys are against it. You guys wanted to stay low level.
Low level. How dare you?
What are you guys up to on the weekend then? Joe, you go first.
I haven't yet booked my tickets, but I'm hoping to do 2 cups this weekend.
Ooh, very nice.
No idea of what I'm playing, but I'll rock up with something. Last weekend with Jack, I did a ton of tabletop testing. We got about 40 or so games in the books with all sorts of Mega Evolution decks. So I'm this week going to be like recording, or it's already been recorded. I need to post com and edit a lot of those. Yeah. So I've already got one eye on the next format, and I'm very happy with how those videos are doing. Jack's done an insanely good job on the set review.
Yeah, kudos to you, Jack.
Yeah, Jack's absolutely smashed it.
I'm expecting Ben to say thank you.
Not at this point. Ben.
So I just want to say to everyone who listens or watches the pod and Omnipoke, I am not Jack.
But not Jack is Ben.
You have no affiliation with Omnipoke. Wouldn't want him to.
He's literally. I know. Joe's cutting that and this game.
Jack loves getting interrupted and asked, brilliant time, whatever. But I am not.
Jack was telling me a great story how he had an opponent talking to him about fantasy football for a while.
Yeah. Jack,
come on.
And then Jack said, "You're more like my uncle." And I thought, well, no, not really. I know I have grey hair. This lighting also isn't great for my hair because you can see right through it. first of
Blaming
all.
the lighting.
Oh my
It's-
god,
it's
you can
like-
see you can see the whole pen if you just flick
I know,
that through
yeah.
again.
It's like a newborn fish. You can see right through it.
I'm thinking about shaving. I'm thinking about shaving my head again. To be honest.
Oh yeah.
Would you?
Yeah. I would. Yeah. It's just cleaner.
Has Harriet not forced you not
Oh,
to?
it doesn't matter. I'll just do it.
Outrageous.
Alex, what are you up to?
I have a friend's wedding celebration this Saturday, so probably no poke for me this weekend.
Joking.
Yeah.
Probably need a break after turning up late to my last one and just having a bit of a mess of it. So, yeah, that was all fun and games, but always a good laugh. I kind of just need to play Pokemon a bit more,
Very good.
especially with preparation for something like Frankfurt as well.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah.
creeping up on us. I mean, you said it just before we started.
Couple
the pod,
of weeks.
like, two and a bit weeks of as of when we're recording.
It all
Seems
kicks
crazy.
off again, boys.
So it starts again.
It's that, it's
never
that
ends.
whole GTA
never
CJ
ends.
here we go again meme, and it's just
Yeah,
Yeah.
strap yourselves
sweat,
in.
you know.
I'm
Benjamin.
not playing any cups. I'm not playing any cups. I'm looking after the baby all day Saturday, which will be fun. While Harriet's off
Oh,
to
you're
a-
finally looking after the baby
Hen-do.
by yourself.
Don't start, because I do my fair share. I'm looking after the baby all day Saturday. Then Sunday's the big day, Old Firm.
Old
So
firm.
sitting in, watching that would be great. I got a couple of weeks actually, so I'll probably start preparing for that now. No Matang, I hope. Probably something actually playable. But yeah, that's all I from myself. Unless you guys had anything more to say, we can round
I think that's
off
all good,
now.
mate.
Yeah, send us off.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to Spill the TCG or even watching it. Spill the TCG podcast. We'll be right with you in a couple of weeks. Have a good time. Bye. Have a good time. What am I talking about?
I like Ben just randomly just lifting his head and going above his mic finally.